All right, what's going on, World Changers?
What's up, everybody? Adam and Michelle from Adam and Michelle Carey here, and we want to welcome you guys to our 404 Facebook Live Monday through Thursday. We come at you, coming your way, coming at you,
coming through your
Facebook
screen.
feed at 4 o'clock Pacific, 6 Central. And
what's going on, Shannon?
Trying to get set up here. So, guys, for those that don't know who we are network marketing professionals, bloggers, trainers, also best-selling authors. And today we actually get to start a new series, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully, you guys have had a chance to pick up the book.
Yeah.
If you haven't, the book that we're studying and then basically doing a kind of springing off from that topic is God of the Underdogs. But we're also going to talk about some modern day underdogs, and hopefully you consider yourself to be one, because we all got things to do. We got a world to change, people to encourage, and so we welcome you guys. Shannon, Jeanette, thanks for jumping on.
All right, so
I don't want to block Shannon. I was trying to scroll something. Almost blocked you, bro.
So let's go ahead and dive in, because we have a whole lot of information that we want to go over from the book. And then we also have a modern day underdog that we're going to be talking about that we could all relate to. So today's excuse from chapter 1 is, I am not qualified enough. I mean,
I'm not even going to try. I'm not even qualified enough.
And I think that we've all felt that way. And I really started to think about this while, doing the notes and reading. And I think there's a difference, because we always talk about putting yourself in an environment of growth, which is really important. So if you put yourself in an environment of growth, you're always going to have some room to grow. There's always going to be people ahead of you that you'll look forward to, and that will be pouring into you and mentoring you. So hopefully, and I know everyone that is watching this, you are in that environment, or you wouldn't be watching this video, right?
That's right. And before you jump into your full, because I know you got a lot of training, just tell people that are if they don't know about the book series, what's the book again, and what's going to be the layout?
I don't even know where my phone is.
What's going to be the layout? I'll find out. What's the layout of the next couple weeks?
So if you are new to the conversation, we welcome you, and we are doing a book study in the next couple of weeks. The book is The God of the Underdogs, and it's a very short book. There's about 9 chapters, and every day, not every day, Monday through Thursday, for the exception of this Thursday, because it is Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We'll be going over the excuses that are included in the book, and paired along with that, we're going to be doing a study on a modern day underdog, somebody who was, shared that excuse of the chapter and is wildly successful today. I would, turn that, because it's doing a little glare. But anyway, let me just show you the book cover.
While you guys are popping on, if you haven't already, please drop a comment. Let us know what city, state, or country you're tuning in from. We always love to know where you're listening in from.
Yeah, and go ahead and hit share and share this out to your community, because I think, a lot of people could relate to this topic, and it's really all about the topics that we're going to be diving in. It will help people win the inner game, the game between here, and that's usually where the fought is, either won or lost. And a lot of people who are wildly successful, they won it in here. So let's go ahead and dive in. So, kind of going back to what I was saying, I think there's a difference between being underqualified and unqualified. Underqualified is you're putting yourself in an environment of growth, you're taking on new things, and there's room to grow. And yes, you may feel underqualified. When we feel unqualified, that means that we're totally discounting ourselves, and that we don't look at ourselves as someone that God could use to do huge things. I'm saying big things. And I think for all of us, He has planted a dream in our hearts to be world changers, because He has to use people to change the earth. He uses all of us, right? We're all messengers. We're all, we all affect each other. And so when we feel unqualified, we're just kind of discounting ourselves completely from being used for great things. Do you have anything to add there?
Well, I've got a story that I'll probably share now or a little bit later. I got to attend a fundraiser for a ministry in downtown Sacramento, and they are 5 or 6 years into something that Atlanta is already 20 years into, and so they really get to kind of see a big picture of what's to come. And the gentleman that leads that ministry in Atlanta, I got to hear the story, and my mouth was just hanging on the floor because I don't know. Would it be a good time to share it now?
Yeah,
or,
go ahead.
Okay, so let me just kind of this will encourage you guys. I love hearing these huge stories. So this redneck pastor, I don't know where he's from, but you know he was like hilarious. He was a stand-up comedian. But I went to this ministry fundraiser in downtown Sacramento. It's called City of Refuge. Amazing. These people have hearts of gold. They're taking in, you know, just everybody they can. They're loving on people, helping drug addicts and kids with no moms and dads. It's just amazing. Well, wow. They found out that there was a City of Refuge in Atlanta, and they called them to try to get some guidance, some counsel. And so anyway, that pastor ended up mentoring them. But that guy from Atlanta, I don't know his name. He was there at the dinner, and he basically shared this. He said 20 years ago, he was a pastor somewhere, and they offered him this position to go into inner city Atlanta to basically shut down a church, sell the property, and then he was going to go back up to the mountains and live the good life. He said he was going to eat chicken, fried chicken, eat chocolate cake, and watch the Andy Griffith Show. And in a Twain accent, it's pretty funny when he said that. But what happened is a few months in, he had some drug addicts walk through the door, some prostitutes walk through the door, said, "Could you help me?" And like 4 months into this thing, he's got like 100, like drug addicts and all these people. He just starts helping them.
Wow.
And then, so he doesn't shut down the property. They don't sell it. And they just keep expanding. And they end up getting this $1.5 million property given to them. He was looking for a property, and the guy gave him the price, and he counter-offered with, "Hey, I don't have any money." And then they just kind of started communicating with the owner, and 6 months later, the guy gave him this $1.5 million property. And now, this is obviously abbreviated, but 20 years later, they got a medical facility, a dental facility, all of this under the roof in the city of Atlanta. They're doing a $25 million campaign right now where Coca-Cola's involved, Chick-fil-A's involved. And so it's just amazing to see, like, I think of this guy as an underdog because 20 years ago, he was given an assignment to shut down a church and sell the property. And fast forward 20 years, it didn't shut down, it expanded. And now they're doing like a $25 million campaign to reach people and to develop the city and help people. And it's just like there's like employment opportunities. It's just crazy. And I'm not even doing any justice, but I just think that's amazing because that guy was an underdog. And God's done more through him and with him than he could have ever imagined. Yeah. So I thought that was awesome. Relevant to share.
I think it's just so amazing when we're willing to say yes and we don't have all of the pieces in place yet in our eyes. But yeah, so let's go back to the book and talk about David, which is, one of my most favorite people in the Bible. But David was obviously, super qualified in the other people's eyes. So in the beginning, we asked you, have you ever, thought yourself as unqualified, or even has someone else labeled you as unqualified? And I think if that has been the case, you'll definitely relate to David and to give you a little bit of backstory so you know where David finds himself on how and why he was labeled as unqualified, is Saul was the king of Israel at the time, and he ended up doing things that God didn't approve of, so God wanted to take the anointing off of him and asked Prophet Samuel to do a ceremony and invite everybody in the town of Bethlehem, including Jesse and all of his sons. There are 7 of them to this ceremony because he was going to choose the new future king. And so everybody in the town gathers, and Jesse gathers all of his sons, and Samuel goes one by one to every single son, and God is like, "Nope, that's not him. Nope, that's not him. Nope, that's not him." And then finally, they're like out of sons, and Samuel's like, "Is there anyone else in your family that's not here?" And Jesse is like, "Yes, I have a son, and he's actually just in the field tending the sheep right now. Why?" And just, I'm sharing this with you because his own father thought he was unqualified. It didn't matter enough for him to invite his son to this ceremony. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think there's a lot of us that could relate to that, especially in our network marketing journey. How many of our family members are sitting back watching us and they're thinking that we're unqualified to make money in network marketing? A lot of people say, well, only X amount of people really get to the top, or X amount of people do this and that, and they throw a bunch of excuses in our way on how that's not going to work. But on, as far as David's side, what made the difference? Because if you fast forward, okay, he became one of the greatest leaders in history, and he ended up defeating Goliath. And so how is it, what happened in that change? Like, what really clicked there from going from, like, nobody ever thought he would be the king of Israel. I'm sure everybody in the town probably scoffed when they brought him in and saw this little kid, to becoming this warrior and this leader that changed the world. And it's belief. Right? So, and we want to relate a story, and I'll let Adam tell the story, but sometimes you just gotta borrow someone else's belief if you don't believe in yourself. And I'm telling you that Adam and I, are getting to know every single one of you week after week. You're popping in here. We're getting to know your stories. Every single one of you, God could use, and you could do great things. And with that said, I'm going to pass it to you.
Yeah. So the story we wanted to share was, We've been in network marketing 9 years. December 3rd will be 9 years. And when our journey started, we're from the West Coast, which most of you know, and some of you may not know the whole story. But a few months into our network marketing journey, we packed our bags and we relocated to the Dallas-Fort Worth area because that's where our opportunity was. That's where we could gather customers. It was very specific based on location. And we wanted to be in the heart of it. And so we had nothing going for us back home, job-wise, career-wise. And we're like, we're all in. So we pushed our chips in. So we're this ambitious young couple with zeal and enthusiasm and no experience, no credibility. I mean, ripped jeans, shorts, tank top. I mean, we didn't look like we owned a business. And so we're going to meetings, we're going to trainings, we're going to all of this. And our upline, we went to every meeting, and she saw us going to meeting after meeting, training after training, having little to no success. I think in the first, 6 months, we sponsored 3 people into our business, 2 of which were friends from back home that really did us a favor. So that was one person locally that we sponsored, which actually ended up becoming a leader, helped us out. It was great. But she pulled us aside one day, I think because she felt somewhat responsible for us moving. She knew that we were going to be moving. And she pulled us aside one day. She said, listen, I'm going to help you. And we're like, great, what are you going to do? Like, we're like, we agreed before we knew what the terms were. He said, I'm going to help you, but you are going to have to do it my way. And when I say jump, jump. When I say go left, go left. I don't want any yeah buts. I don't want any arguing. And we're like, yes, absolutely. We'll do whatever it takes. And she says, and I want you to start your day at my house every day at 7 or 7:30 or whatever.
It was early.
Whatever it was. She was about a 30-minute drive. And so that was part of the deal is for accountability. We had part-time jobs, parking cars, waiting tables. And she wanted us to start every single day at her house because she knew that would give us a jumping off point. It would get us out of the house, somewhere to go, and she could literally get with us. All right, who are you calling? What are you doing? What do you got going on? And we mapped it all out. And what's crazy is, I'm going to fast forward the story, is this leader needed 5, to get to her next rank, which was the highest rank in the company. She had to help 5 people get to where she was, okay? And what's crazy is we ended up being the second person, the second of the 5 that she needed in order for her to get her promotion. Now, what we did not know until, years later?
Yeah, years later.
She was sharing at a conference or a training, is what we didn't know is she didn't think we'd make it. When she pulled us aside for that conversation, said, I'm going to help you, I think she did it out of compassion and wanted to feel like she did her duty of hey, I'm going to do my best to help this couple, but this couple's going to drown. And we didn't. We never went away. We were like a mosquito. We kept showing up and draining her. And so it was an amazing story, but I didn't know till years later that she literally told the crowd, look, I didn't think this couple was going to make it. But they had heart, they were determined, they were teachable, they plugged in, they just kept showing up, and they never gave up. And we were definitely an underdog because our story of moving actually inspired quite a few people to also move to Texas to pursue that business. And I don't know, I'm sure there's some that made it, I don't know, but I don't know of any that moved to the state actually like stuck it out and promoted and became full-time and stuff like that. And so I definitely, with all humility, say we were definitely an underdog. And we had to borrow, careful now, we had to borrow her belief. And what I came to find out now is she didn't really have much belief. So we thought she believed in us, so we borrowed her belief, and later we found out she didn't really believe in us, but it was enough to get us to buy into it and actually do something. Yeah. And so hopefully that makes sense to you, but that was part of our journey and how this chapter relates to our story.
Yeah, so I want to just take a moment and just welcome some people and thank you all for tuning in. Jeanette, what's going on? Yolanda, we have Shannon, I think I saw Jeff Schweiger, and John, and so anyway,
Patricia, did you say
Claudia, what's up?
John.
And Christina, what's going on? So, yeah, I love that. And I think one other thing on David, and I was listening to a podcast. I'm actually going to post the podcast in our private Facebook group. If you're not a part of our private Facebook group, go ahead and we'll just put the link in there. You could add yourself. So, anyway, going along the lines of David is he ended up going from shepherd boy to defeating Goliath, and warriors were even afraid of Goliath, and David's like, throw me in, coach, like I could do this. So what happened there, and I think it's all about what you do in the podcast. They call it the secret place. It's what you do in preparation in secret when there's no fanfare, when there's nobody looking over your shoulder. It's everything that you do that will prepare you for the next level. So David was able to defeat Goliath because he was a shepherd boy, which was like the lowliest position, but he protected his sheep by defeating and fighting bears and lions. And if he never went and did that, he would have never had the confidence to go ahead and defeat the giant. And so you just got to ask yourself, maybe you're in a position or a season where you're like, I don't feel like I'm being used. I don't feel like anything great is happening right now, but just know that every single thing God does take and he banks it up for you to be able to promote you to the next level. And I want to get into our modern day underdog.
Keep going.
So this is what we're going to do next, is we're going to talk about a modern day underdog that I was, I've actually heard of him before, and I studied on his story because I just thought it was like, this is a story that I go to when I feel down.
We used to play it at trainings.
Yeah, we used to play this at training. So we're going to do something fun. I'm not going to say who it is, and I'm just going to read off all these facts and things that happened in his life. And if you want to guess, go ahead and guess and put who you think it is in the comment section. But I think you're going to be really blessed by this, and we'll also include the clip in the YouTube video in our group too. So, okay. So he was pulled out by forceps, which altered his face and affects the way he speaks. Movie producers didn't like his look and the way he spoke. What he wanted ultimately was to be an actor. That was his passion. Okay, and he wanted to act to inspire people. Okay, so he was thrown out of agencies 1,500 times. And he refused to get a job because he didn't want to get comfortable and watch his dreams slip away.
I just want to share that there weren't 1,500 agencies.
Yeah.
That he got thrown out of 1,500 because he went back to some of them 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
So I just want to share that.
I think there was like 300 agencies.
Yeah. So I thought that was worth sharing because that's just like, that's grit, determination.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Okay, so he didn't want to go get a job because he didn't want to get comfortable, get into that mode, and watch his dreams slip away. He wanted to stay hungry. Therefore, his wife ended up leaving him, and part of the reason was because they were so broke, they couldn't heat their house, they couldn't eat, and he ended up selling his wife's jewelry, and that was like the last straw, and she ended up leaving him.
Brother.
Okay, this guy was alone, completely broke. He ended up having to sell his dog, his very best friend, the last companion that he had, and he tried to get $100 for him. He tried to get $50. He ended up selling him for $25.
Wow.
Okay, so one day he was watching the Muhammad Ali fight. I forget who he was fighting, and he was inspired to write a movie script. And so after that movie script, he wanted to go and try and sell that.
Post any guesses that you guys have.
Go ahead.
Any guesses, put them in the comments.
And then so he ended up getting offered $125,000 for the script.
Wow.
But they were going to give that to him, but he couldn't star in it. And he basically said, no, I'm a part of the deal. I want to be the star in the movie. And it was a take it or leave it. So he ended up leaving it. Okay, so a few weeks later, the agency called him and said, I want to give you $250,000 for it. Okay, this guy has no money, and he could get $250,000 for the script, but you cannot star in your movie. And he's like, no, I want to star. I have to star in my movie. I come with it. They went all the way up to $325,000 for the script.
Wow.
Right? But they didn't believe in him. They didn't believe that watchers would like to watch him because of the way he talked and the way his face looked. Okay, finally they came to the conclusion he would sell them a script and they would pay him $35,000 and they would allow him to star in the movie.
Wow.
$35,000.
So from 300 and what?
325 was the highest bid.
$325,000 down to $35,000 if
and he was broke. Yeah. But you know what? He knew what he wanted and he went for it, and he knew deep down inside, like, I am not going to sell out for money. I know what I want. Okay. And then I'm actually not going to tell you the best part of it, the part where I just break in the tears every
very
time.
Ending?
Yeah.
Okay.
So good.
You're going to post the video?
I'm going to post the video in the group and you could get the ending. Okay. So this Modern Day Underdog, I think someone did get it.
A bunch of them, I think, did.
Yeah. Y'all must have. Yep. Sly Stallone. Sylvester Stallone.
Rambo.
Yeah,
Rocky.
Rambo. And the movie was Rocky. Okay, people didn't believe in him. Over and over, he was rejected, but he knew that that's what his calling was, and he went for it.
That's so good.
Yeah, so good. Anyway, we're going to end it now, and I'll go ahead and post whatever we said we would post, the movie, and then also the podcast, and there's also another resource for God of the Underdogs. But tomorrow, I don't know. I don't have my phone with me.
Here, while you're looking for that, I'm so encouraged. We've listened to that story told by Tony Robbins. I like how Tony Robbins shares that story. Is that the one you're gonna share? Mm-hmm. And I like how he shares it. It's so encouraging to hear the struggles that he went through, because all we see is the massive success now. And then sometimes it makes us go, man. Makes us look at our own struggles. Go, man. I don't even have real problems. Like, this guy, sold his wife's jewelry. His wife left him. He sold his own dog. And, I mean, how many of us would have taken that offer for $100,000, then $250,000, then $300 and something, but he held out. And so I think that's a question we can all ask us is, how bad do we want it, and are you willing to settle? The IQ level, right? I'm sure you guys have heard that before. What is your IQ level, which is your I quit level. If you have an I quit level, then maybe you don't want it bad enough. And so good. So what's chapter 2 tomorrow about?
Chapter 2 is Underdog Excuse number 2. My past is too bad. How about this with network marketing? I've already introduced everyone to my business, or I failed so many times in network marketing. People don't believe
nobody's going to listen to me.
No one will listen to me.
Yeah, I've tried too many, blah, 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 blah. So get the book, God of the Underdogs. We'll have another Modern Day Underdog to relate. We'll post the video in the private Facebook group. We'll post the link for that right now. Hit share, comment, tag if you guys got some value out of this. And again, we just thank you for watching. Hope you have an amazing day. And get that turkey ready for Thursday, because it's going to be awesome.
Gobble, gobble.
God bless you guys.